Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Okay, it's your chance today to really sound off. It is Wednesday, the 13th day of June, 2012. We're going to be live here for the next 3 hours. We don't have any guests today. We have cleared the deck so we can cover masses of international financial news. The EU announcing total tyranny, that voting won't even matter in the countries anymore, as if it didn't before. Now they're just being open that they'll take any amount of money they want. No judge, no jury. Not let you have your money out of bank accounts. Checkpoints so you can't leave. Third world populations can come in to drive down wages, but slaves inside cannot leave. That's the globalist model. You are prisoners in your country. You are the lowest filth on earth. It's a global standardized model. We're going to be going over all of that. Also, Ron Paul isn't even sure he's going to go to the Ron Paul Liberty Fest that was set up there in Tampa because it might anger the loving Republicans. And Rand Paul has come out and said, hey, he wants to get along with the Republican Party. So, hey, let's all just be delusional. His dad didn't endorse McCain 4 years ago, but now he's endorsing Romney. And that's fine. I mean, at least the Pauls are pro-Second Amendment. Want low taxes? They're not bad people, but it's not bad that we are upset. It's not bad that we're like, wow, you're not Dr. No anymore. Wow, our contributions, what we built. I mean, the people that put Ron Paul on the map are upset. We are the supporters. We reflect who brought him to where he is and his son, and I'd say 95% are very upset. So we can open the phones up about that today. And we've been told in a bunch of newspapers, I read them yesterday by operatives, that, hey, grow up and you're stupid. In fact, will you pull me that article that it's like 2 words to Ron and Rand Paul supporters, grow up. And they go on to say, you're stupid? Okay, I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I didn't support Obama. And I knew he was owned by the same people as Bush. And now Mitt Romney's totally paid for by the same people. And I'm stupid. I understand. I'm stupid. Ron Paul really won the first primaries. The Republican Party knows that. They said, hey, instead of us always trying to destroy you, the door is open. And the Pauls said, hey, we're walking down the aisle. Dun, 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 dun. Or is that the graduation music? I mean, it's a here comes the bride, all dressed in white. Okay, great. I mean, I'm not enemies of the Pauls. I'm hurt, and I'm not supposed to be hurt. I'm supposed to go, oh, I get this. Whoa, yes, yes. Compromise, make the Republicans happy. That's what their press releases, 2 of them say. The Republicans will get mad at us if we're not for war with Iran. And they will get mad at us if we don't have sanctions. And they will get mad at us if we don't like Mitt Romney. And they will get mad at us. And, well, I mean, Patriot Act, torture, checkpoints, TSA. How about all of it? I mean, the Republicans and Democrats at the highest levels are together on the same page. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231. The phones are already full without me even giving the number out. We don't usually even do that, but whatever. We'll take those calls that got in there. 800-259-9231, and I'm just going to hammer through your calls. That means I'll probably get to 1 call by the end of the hour, and then I'll really get exotic and take 3 in the second hour, maybe 5 in the third hour. Just joking. We're going to get to everybody. In fact, in the spirit of this, we'll just go to calls the first 30 minutes or so, and then I'll get into all the news. And boy, let me tell you, it's off the charts. Muy loco. 80% in major poll want to be able to vote on the fact that 83% of their laws are passed by the EU bureaucracy, even though they're not in the EU. But it doesn't matter. The drones are standing by the checkpoints. You've been occupied. They don't care. Global polls, almost everyone's against the drones, including U.S. citizens, abroad and domestically. Doesn't matter. The drones are there, so you learn to speak Goldman Sachs and Wells Fargo and Bank of America. Shut up! Pay the taxes! Slave filth! Very important transmission lined up for you today. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, the 13th of June, 2012. I am Alex Jones, your host. I absolutely hate tyranny and oppression and bullies and lies and fraud and con artists and scams. I am totally in love with beauty and truth and justice and strength and honor and success. And I have sworn on the altar of God eternal resistance over every form of tyranny. To paraphrase Thomas Jefferson, and I reaffirm that here today, I will not compromise with tyranny. I will not play mind games with myself. I want to live in the real world. We are buried alive in bureaucracy and propaganda and brainwashing and chemicals and GMO and chemtrails and heavy metals and garbage. And I am digging out of the tomb. I will not sit here under 6 feet of baloney. I am digging out. I am awake. I have come out of the cave. I am looking at the sun. I'm on the surface. It's like THX 1138 redoes Plato's The Cave, and you come up and man, there's the sun, and you're out there on the mountainside, and it's beautiful. And I don't want to be down here with the zombies anymore. And to get out of this, I've got to wake up the zombies. And I have come to break the trance. And you have come to break the trance, and we are here, and we've got targets in all directions. We're completely surrounded. Good. Don't let any of the zombies escape. We're not here to kill them. We're here to unlock their minds. When you realize the oppressive people in the police state system, the bureaucrats, all of them, they are victims through conditioning and through failure and through humiliation and through Madison Avenue telling them that they're garbage. They have given in to different templates of control, and we are here to free humanity. We are here to break the chains. There is only one way through this tyranny, and that's straight ahead, no compromise. Now, we are going to open the phones up. In fact, we're going to go to your calls here in about 60 seconds. And I told you this was coming next. All over the country, they're announcing they're going to scan the RFID. It's already started in England 6-7 years ago. Australia started last year. We're about 6 years behind them, generally, in the tyranny. It's beta tested there first. Many forms of it. They're going to scan your trash cans and give you huge fines in the mail. To make you think it's okay, you'll first get warnings. Again, that's how they phase all this tyranny in. Oh, we're going to just give you a warning for your seatbelt at first. Now we're going to arrest you and give your kids to CPS. Oh, we're now going to forcibly give you an inoculation. There's no law, but if you don't let us, we're going to have the CPS take your newborn child. But the study shows it hurts my child, and they don't need a sexually transmitted vaccine. And the Japanese have banned this for children under 2. Shut up. The officers are standing by, conspiracy lady. Shut up. Shut up. I mean, look at these headlines here. Milk drinks and popcorn to be banned in New York. Last week it was no judge, no jury, just a bureaucracy that decides through the health department what's safe, which are racial hygiene set up in New York, what, 1910, 1912? All over the country by 1915. Totally new courts through the health department, social services, family court, all new, out of England, eugenics. That's where Hitler got it. The death panels, first killing the retarded kids, then killing the crippled kids, then killing whoever they wanted. I mean, Hitler didn't invent this, ladies and gentlemen. They don't dress up in military uniforms now and parade around with, you know, nighttime rallies with big swastikas. They walk around acting trendy and liberal and tell you how they're guarding you in the nanny state and they're going to take care of you and put GMO in your food with live pesticide in it that kills bees if they eat it. And they're going to put aspartame in the thousands of foods that totally annihilates your cell structure. And they're going to radiate your food. They're going to poison you. And they're going to put nanotech in the food. Most people already have it in their brains when they do autopsies after car wrecks. That was in the news a month ago. They're going to murder you and kill you. And as everybody starts dying, they're going to go, oh my gosh, you're not allowed to eat red meat now in the city unless, oh, you pay a tax. You've got to swipe a card to have a record of what you're doing because we're all under national health care now. And what you do affects other people. And it's all communalized and communitarianism. that George W. Bush said he supported. Communitarianism means communist system, but we don't want global government. We want global governance. Means the exact same thing. We don't want communism. We want communitarianism. But it's okay because it means the same thing because George W. Bush is a Republican. And he goes to Republican functions and patted people on the head. And Obama, while he totally hammers all of his idiot constituents, he goes and pats them on the head, so it makes it all right. And he himself is a puppet. You haven't even gotten anywhere near breaking the surface of reality. All these people buried alive politically, spiritually, psychically, chemically. And I am not going to live in this fake reality anymore. I'm not playing around with any of it anymore. I'm not going to sit here and play patty cake with all the fake constructs and the rest of it. It's all bull. They got polls out where 90+% of Americans don't want military drones used against them. Well, it's illegal to begin with. It's unconstitutional. It's out of its jurisdiction. You're not supposed to have the military involved domestically because it's always used to take over in every case in history. From Latin America in modern times and Africa and Asia right through to Julius Caesar and crossing the Rubicon. This is what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. And everything we've already been through in history is happening again with a bunch of delusional eugenicists calling themselves transhumanists, delusionally saying they're going to live forever and be gods and fly off to outer space, when meanwhile, all they do is wreck stuff, and they're probably going to kill everybody. It's only a matter of time till they trigger a black hole, one of these conducting super colliders or cyclotrons. It's only a matter of time till they release some antimatter weapon the Air Force admits they've got to scare everybody. It's only a matter of time till they release out of one of these level 4 bioweapons labs on purpose or by accident, or one of their eugenicist cult members sneaks out with it, stuff that kills 90+% of people when you come in contact with it, recombinant mouse pox designed for Homo sapiens sapien. I mean, you know, that's just one of the attack patterns. Super weaponized flu, super weaponized black plague, super weaponized anthrax, and stuff we can't even imagine. Nanotech, viral precursor microplasms. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. We are on the absolute cusp of changes that are going to blow everybody away. The globalists have suppressed at least 30 years of technology. That's why they're so arrogant right now. You know, I saw Lord Rothschild get confronted by Luke Radowski. We got to play that clip. We had it posted like a week ago, but I'm going to ask Kurt to repost that at Infowars.com. And he walks over to him and talks about his New World Order, and Rothschild turns around with this extreme intelligence in his eyes and just smiles at Luke and just sits there pitying him, no telling. You know, that guy actually owned the whole Rockefeller system. That's why David's wasn't even at Bilderberg and is real ill. What is he, 96 or something? And just, quote, merged with the Rothschild holdings. Every time an oligarch gets arrested in Russia, the Rothschilds go, oh, we owned all their stuff. You actually don't get any of it. and he just looks at Luke and just looks at him. And those eyes of just evil intelligence just looks at him like, you have no idea, boy. It's like when Luke confronted Senator Rockefeller and talked about his family funding Hitler and the eugenicist. And he turned around and he goes, you got a lot of you-know-whats, kid. I ought to give you a job. He's like 6'5". He just wheels around. He's on crutches. At the time I had knee surgery. Because he's ignoring everybody. But as soon as you let him know you can see, it's just like the movie They Live. He swings around and he goes, you got some huevos, kid. I ought to give you a job. See, everything's cloaked and fake, and they know everybody's in a dream state, not even awake, and they realize somebody is not in a trance. And you talk to a Rothschild or Rockefeller, because I've done it myself before, confronted these people, and the minute they know that you're actually addressing them, all of a sudden it's like they uncloak and they just turn, and they're like, oh, yeah, you see me? I see you. They're all asleep, Jones. You'll never wake them. They're ours. And I have to sit here and watch everyone play patty cake. Hey, let's take over the Republicans. Oh, it's a genius plan of the polls. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Republicans, that's only one layer of the control. And it's the other way around. You can see that. Suddenly endorsing neocon candidates through Campaign for Liberty. Suddenly saying, oh, yeah, sanctions and act of war are good. Oh, Mitt Romney's great. Also, everyone has access to the new president. See, the word is it's going to be Romney now. Everything's switching against Obama, just like it all switched against Bush and McCain. And so it's like, oh my God, we'll be at the White House. We'll be interviewing him. We'll know the president and vice president. Oh my gosh, I could dress up in a tuxedo and I could go to a dinner and go through and feel real important like a peacock sitting there with my feathers out. Look, I've arrived. I'm hanging out with the people in Washington. I've hung out with the biggest movie stars there are. It means nothing. I've hung out with some of the top scientists, astronauts. It means nothing. None of it's real if they're not awake. You hang out, though, with some old lady or some young man or some young woman or old woman, whatever, who is awake and knows what's going on and sees the Matrix. That's who I want to hang out with. That's electric. That's reality. That's fulfilling. That's important. Ladies and gentlemen, they're announcing that they're going to move now to ban popcorn and milk. See, they're going to say what's dangerous. They're going to say what size your toilet is. They're going to say what type of batteries you can have. They're going to say what can be in your trash. They're going to say if you can spank your kids. They're going to give your kids vaccines without your consent now in 3 states. They're going to do what they want. They're going to take your bank accounts. They're going to give you a national ID card. They're going to grab your genitals at checkpoints and abuse your wife and children in front of you. They're going to do it because they like to do it. You ever studied history? Scum likes this. And good people that sit here in a trance, well, it's actually not their fault because they were medically induced into this at birth via the matrix integrator known as television. Russia denies sending helicopters to Syria, says West arming rebels. Well, I mean, they admit they're arming al-Qaeda, the bankers that run our country. I'm supposed to love al-Qaeda. I'm supposed to love Mitt Romney. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Also, exclusive, Bilderberg 1966 data dump, the war on nationalism exposed. U.S. government study, humans are national security threat to oceans and our planet. Now, we had it from 73, but this is one of the oldest documents saying humans are the threat by the predator class. Our government says we're bad. We're a threat. We're evil. Former World Bank President Wolfenson, I don't want to talk about Bilderberg. Jesse Ventura says the TSA is a pedophile hunting ground. An excerpt of that interview yesterday. That is all coming up today and a lot more. But first, let's just take calls the rest of the hour, and then I'll get into... They're bringing Obama down. I saw this a few months ago. Schiff, the word from big insiders was that they're done with him. Now, top Democratic strategists say there's an unstoppable headwind. Either Obama's going to start a war, stage a false flag to play the hero, and that's only if the global handlers let him. But sometimes, even within criminal subgroups, they'll do it on their own. Or it's going to be Mitt Romney. And all I'm saying is I'm not in a Mitt Romney bashing fest because all that does is get childlike Republicans to not listen to us. I'm just saying he's for gun control, open borders, abortion, and a bunch of wars, and NDAA and Patriot Act and warrantless spying, and he's a puppet. I know people want to believe, hey, we're about to beat Obama. Yeah! Okay, just watch what happens. Just watch what happens. Just watch what happens. It's just like the Obama supporters. My God, they send me hate mail still saying I work for the Republicans. Just childlike idiots. And you would think, because I agree with more what Republicans say than what Democrats. I mean, across the board, I don't agree with what Democrats stand for. I mean, it's a socialist, globalist, New World Order, eugenics group, posing as loving, trendies, super dangerous, super bad. But then the globalists just give us an alternative that gives us different rhetoric but does the exact same thing, and a lot of times gets more done in the agenda. Shut up now. Start the calls. Jonathan in North Carolina, you're on the air. What is on your mind today?
Hey, I hope you can hear me all right, but I just wanted to let you know that currently we are actually upping our NBC work, natural, biological, and chemical. We've actually gotten in a whole fleet of the NBC FLAs, which is basically ambulance.
It's a decontamination unit. So are you a firefighter, police officer?
I'm currently in the military as a medic.
Okay, yeah, that's just the cover for federalization. That's phase 1 in the town. Next, it's fighting the locals with John Deere hats in drills. They actually wear John Deere hats. I have video of this. We've shown it in urban warfare. The bad guys wear John Deere hats. That's the enemy, the new Al-Qaeda. It's not a beard and a turban. It's a John Deere hat and overalls. I mean, so what are they telling you?
Well, actually, they're just upping the training, and also around here, there's also been something weird going on post. At least I think it has been for the last 2 weeks. They actually have a civilian military SWAT team that drives around in a kind of like modified Brinks truck that drives around, and these guys, even going into like the PX to get something to eat or somewhere, they're in full regalia with everything short of M4s and shotguns, but they're still carrying around pistols and full body armor.
Yeah, no, they're bringing the mercs in now at every level, and they're going to replace you soon.
Yeah, well, if they replace me, then just, give me a week's notice so I can go home.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about down the road. Robots, AI-controlled drones are already in the sky, acting autonomously, and then little specialized corporate guys who've been tested psychologically and who don't care as long as the money's right. It's a total, imagine Attack of the Pirates. The globalists actually at Skull and Bones, that's their idol, is pirates. And so just imagine the whole system is a pirate system run through government against us.
Well, hey, I can only give you one more thing. I'm going to have to get off because my car just told me. But, there has actually been the NBC.
Yeah, guys, hold the music down for a minute. Sir, make your point. Go ahead and make it.
Well, no, they're moving all that NBC equipment from other installations to this side, to this coast. We're getting stuff from just all over the place.
Now, that's key. That means if they stage something there, they can pose as better saviors. Good points. Thank you for the call. It certainly is, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for putting up with me. Great info from that member of the military earlier. They used those hazmat teams everywhere back in the 80s and the 90s to get the liaisoning set up with local police. And they go, yeah, the regular Army's here, but they help us with bomb disposal. And now we'll help you SWAT team somebody's house. And it's going on covertly, and it's totally illegal. But now it's admitted. And the CFR comes out and says, yes, with the top general, we're going to start having the military respond as your local SWAT team, regular Army. I mean, that's public 2 weeks ago. This is off the charts. And, hey, you're not going to have that popcorn. You're not going to have that milk. And New York's moving to ban that. And there's going to be new fines and fees, and we're going to dig through your garbage to make sure you've got the right recycling going on. This is about taking the biggest prison population in the world and doubling it. This is the new economy. This is like bank robbers coming in and saying, hands up. And you're like, why are you robbing me? Because I'm a bank robber. Why is the New World Order going to do this? Because they're crooks. Because they can and they like it. And the sky's the limit, and they want a new dark age that they're going to call the new enlightenment. Okay, enough. Let's go to your calls. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231. Coming up, Rand Paul says, yeah, I want the Republicans to like me. I love Romney. And there's all the apologists out there saying it's a great idea. So, hey, I'm not mad at the Pauls. I'm just disappointed. And it's a part of a larger trend, so I have to report on what they do now, and I have to not be naive. Seen some bad stuff happening in the last 6 months, but I certainly still appreciate the good work they're doing overall. But I have to point out the fact that the trajectory they're on is pretty soon, they'll be like John McCain or something. I mean, if Rand continues drifting this fast in a year or so, he'll be like John McCain, basically. And by then, everybody would have already said, well, it's okay. So it's like, well, it's okay now. We've got to work with people. We've got to get along with the system. Hey, come, sit down, be reasonable, grow up, compromise. Well, we've been doing a lot of that, hadn't we? And now they're like, yeah, we're listening to everything you do without warrants. It's illegal, but that's the way it is. Yeah, we banned the soft drinks last week. Now we're going to ban your popcorn. And then how much stake you can have. And the government admits, that's what the Department of Health, Department of Energy, all of them say, Health and Human Services, that you'll have this ID card that charges you the national sales tax, and it'll be graduated, because poor people won't have to pay a lot of it at first, they're going to say. And then everything you do is tracked on the card, accessed by a digital face scan photo that's going in everywhere, and or thumbprint, or index finger. And so, oh, that's your allotment of red meat. Oh, that's your, and they're going to decide what you eat and what you do while jacking everything and not letting you have labeling that tells you something's GMO. And you watch, people will just die of more cancer, more diseases. The numbers will keep skyrocketing straight up as they are in every neurological disorder, every disorder of the gut, bone disorders, skeletal problems, skin problems. Everything's just going to go up, 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 up. And they're going to come in as a solution and say, we're just going to incrementally tax and restrict and ban everything. If I'd have told you 10 years ago, as I did, they would start banning soft drinks and then ice cream and then red meat and popcorn oil and milk, and not just raw milk, you'd say you're crazy. Oh, but I did say that, and you said I was crazy. I told you 15 years ago they were taking babies' blood at birth in a giant secret world government program declassified 5 years ago. Again, I don't want credit for any of this. Most of this stuff is declassified, or it's been leaked to me. I'm going to say it again to all the bureaucrat enforcers who feel like they're winners because they're on the, the inside and they get some of the intel and they laugh at the public. You're being injected with cancer viruses, look it up, and sterilants in all the major processed food, the water. Okay, you're being killed. You're not on the winning team, Dumbo. Okay? Wake up. Let me explain it again. You're being soft-killed. Do you understand? Not in Kansas anymore. And hoping Obama's going to save you. Hoping Mitt Romney's going to save you. Hoping that the new British Prime Minister's going to save you. That's naive. We've got to admit just how crazy the social engineering's gotten layer after layer after layer after layer. Until we realize that there's only one way out of this, and that is to really break with the system entirely and stop complying more and more, start small, but then more and more across the board, making a noise in public places, getting aggressive, breaking the zombie trance. You understand, we are literally cognitive counter-revolutionaries. The globalists have had their zombie revolution, the brainwaves, all of it. We've got to break the trance. I'm sorry, I'm ranting. Chris in Alabama, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can, sir.
Okay. I wanted to send out a warning. I'm starting to see this on the online community that people seem to be wanting to jump on the Gary Johnson bandwagon. Have you followed the Libertarian Party any this year?
I know that the Libertarian Party has drifted quite a bit as well towards kind of green socialism and a bunch of other weirdnesses. And that's because the power structure, all they've got to do is maintain control, so they try to co-opt every mass movement. But yes.
Gary Johnson, Bill Still has been running for the Libertarian presidency, and I bring him on my financial website, dogbarker.com. But basically what Bill Still has exposed of Gary Johnson is he is a bankster shill, Alex. In one of his debates, Gary Johnson quoted that Wall Street didn't commit any crimes, end quote. He also quoted that borrowing money is okay, but printing money is not, which we both know is that how money is created is basically has to be borrowed into existence. And he's allied with a guy named Roger Stone. Bill Still exposed him through a middleman named Roger Miller. And he found out that this guy, Roger Stone, is a huge Nixon fan.
All right, but listen, I'm going to have Gary Johnson on tomorrow, and I appreciate your call, Governor Johnson. And I don't think the Libertarians are going to win, but it's good to build something alternative. I don't agree with him on having open borders because the people get here and have welfare shoved on them and become Democratic voting operatives who 90+% will vote to take my guns and my little bit of private property. Paying over half of what I produce to government isn't enough. It's all Ford Foundation, globalist run. And so, yeah, I would be for free trade with China if they had no tariffs and we had no tariffs and they didn't have slave camps. But you've got to have some type of walls when the rest of the world's totally collapsed. Instead, globalism, you let the walls down. It's like opening the door on a submarine and everything gets flooded. Mexico's worse off than it was 20 years ago under NAFTA and GATT. We're worse off. And so that's the issue here. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think Gary Johnson is perfect. But I know he's been anti-war. He's for drug decriminalization, which the globalists do not want. And so I'm not falling down. In fact, I'll open the phones up tomorrow when Gary's on. Is he on 30 minutes or an hour? An hour. He's on for an hour. So we'll take calls tomorrow. You guys make me 30 minutes into it go to calls, okay? Yes, sir. And, you know, Gary Johnson's a nice guy. Sometimes hearing him speak's like watching paint dry, but it's okay. He's going to be on the show tomorrow, and I've already had him on before. I'm not just having him on now because Rand Paul's being wedded to Mitt Romney. And again, I think it's a beautiful wedding, and I'm sure everybody's going to have fun at the wedding, and I'm not against it. You know, I just don't particularly like it, but I'm being sarcastic now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and take a call from Brian in Pennsylvania. You're on the air, Brian.
Hey, Alex. Thanks for taking my call. Man, it was great meeting you in Chantilly at the Bilderberg meeting. This thing with Ron Paul has really got me worked up. I mean, I feel like it's a betrayal. Alex, I feel like I've been punched in the gut. And I'm afraid, or I don't know, maybe hopeful that this is going to be a trigger for maybe a call to action from the info warriors to make a move. I mean, what are our choices here? We've got Obama or Romney. Those are our choices. I mean, come on, man. I'm sick of it, Alex. I mean, it's time for.
Well, you know what? You know what the big New Jersey newspaper, NewJersey.com, had to say. 2 words for those upset by Rand Paul endorsement of Mitt Romney: grow up. And they go on to say, and you know, the masses are upset with it, and they go on to say, and the masses just aren't that smart. So listen, you shouldn't. Hold on. You're not smart because you know that Mitt Romney wrote Obamacare. You're not smart because you know Mitt Romney's been for abortion for 20-plus years, but now says he's against it. You're not smart because he always stabs his constituents in the back and is owned by Goldman Sachs publicly, just like Obama. You're not smart because you know he supported carbon taxes. You're not smart because you know Ron Paul didn't endorse McCain, and as bad as McCain is, Romney's even worse on the voting record. You're not smart. And the Ron Paul of 4 years ago, he wasn't smart. See, Ron Paul and everybody, and by the way, Ron Paul's involved, they've gotten smart. So just admit you're not that smart. It says you're not that smart. This is Paul Mulshine. You're not smart, and you need to grow up, okay? So, yeah, grow up. Get behind Romney, who says we shouldn't audit the Fed and that Congress has no power over the issuance of currency and credit. Grow up. How dare you? Listen to Jack Hunter. Grow up. We've got to make the Republicans happy, so let's have a war with Iran. Let's have sanctions. Let's have torture. Let's endorse neocon candidates, and let's endorse Romney, okay? Grow. In fact, I'm announcing I'm growing up today. I've just grown up. Now, you know, we shouldn't be hardcore and change the discourse by moving the Overton window back towards liberty. We should let them walk us into tyranny through a process. So, again, grow up. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm ready to grow up, Alex. I'm sick of the TSA. I'm sick of the FDA.
Grow up. Got to do it to keep you safe. Can't let you know if it's GMO. Got to arrest Amish. You got to let them ban sodas and milk and popcorn all over the country. It's not just New York. You got to grow up. We need inspectors to dig through our trash. We need the NSA to spy on us without warrants. We need 30,000 armed drone switchblades against us. Grow up. We need sodium fluoride in the water, 7-fold increase in bone cancer. Grow up. Grow up. Grow up. I'm sorry.
I'm sick of their drones, Alex. I think we need our own drones with live stream to spy on them. And I think no,
that's an invasion of government secret under national security, and we have no rights. Grow up.
No, I'm tired of being oppressed. I'm tired of being told that I have to take their GMOs. I'm tired that
grow up, sir. Enjoy the 10,000 increase plus in pediatric cancer.
Sir. No, sir. And
grow up. Grow up. Hey, they say there's death panels. They want to kill grandma. It's trendy to kill your parents. Grow up. Grow up.
They want to strip search her in the airport, Alex.
So what if the TSA wants to molest your wife in front of you and put you in a microwave oven? Grow up.
A man's got to stand up and say no, Alex.
No, George Washington was wrong. Grow up. Grow up. I appreciate your call. Get rid of him. He hadn't grown up yet. Some kind of weirdo wants freedom calling into the show. Mitt Romney's awesome. I like him. He's got clean-cut hair, $2,000 suit, perfectly tailored. He smiles at you. Hi, how you doing? You know, Ted Bundy would do that. Pull up a little yellow Volkswagen. Hey, get in the car, honey. A little 16-year-old. Oh, yeah. Hey, let's go to my house. We're going to have some fun once we get there. Now, you try to open your mouth, I'm going to blow your head off, sister. When I get you where we're going, everything's going to be all right now. Hey, he was smiling. Hey, I'm in Romney. Oh, hi, I'm charming like a fake cheerleader. Hey. Yeah. Oh, it's so loving. Thank you, Chris. I understand you're upset or whoever that. What was that caller's name? Was that Brian? Okay, who do we go to now? Peter in Florida, you're on the air. I hope you've grown up and realized that we... Yeah.
Listen up, Alex, man. First of all, I want to say, you know, you've done an incredible, you know, I don't have to tell you anymore. You're the man, dude. But listen up. I want to just start off what I'm going to say, and I think I got a pretty important message by saying, remember, we can't always invest in a person. Like you always say, they could tear down a person, but the ideas have to go on. So first of all, everybody who's freaking out, Rand Paul this, Rand Paul that, everybody calm down, first of all.
And grow up.
Second of all, yeah, grow up. But now listen, second of all, I have to tell you, here in South Florida, we've, in 4 years, just about have completely taken over the Republican Party here. I don't want to say specifically in which city.
And that's why this deal has been made. The Paulites were starting to take over, and so suddenly it's being taken over, and that's why this is so bad. But it doesn't matter.
But remember, and I don't mean to cut you off. I know you can cut off too, but whatever. Listen, you remember when Rand Paul was running for Senate? My brother and I both were like, what is going on with Rand Paul? He's saying all this mainstream neocon nonsense. He wins, landslide, right? And then I know he put the sanctions on Iran, but this guy took the charge up against NDAA, you know, a TSA, and he went full force. Now, I'm not saying, like I said, he's just a guy, he can be torn down like anybody else. But it's so unreal. It's so easy. And I got to tell that guy who just called in freaking out, man, know what your power is and know what your strength is. My brother and I, we walk into the party, and they know that we're borderline anarcho-capitalists. I mean, there's no hiding it, but they let us do what we want. They love us because we're personality-driven. They don't have any philosophical ties.
No, they don't. It's a bunch of fossils in the Republican Party that want to feel powerful and official, and that's the thing. Good people can take over when we take the field.
Exactly. Listen, it's literally like a social club. If these people were nerds, they'd be at a Star Trek convention. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
No, but listen, I got to tell everybody out there, you got to hear this. Once you go in and get rid of that whole defensive attitude, you can know it, man. There's people there talking about Agenda 21. There's people there yelling at the senators for stuff that you would hear on your show on a daily basis. However, if you just go in there and kind of keep your calm, I think this is what he's doing now, and he's getting in there because look how easy it was. Look how difficult it was 4 years ago to get these ideas mainstream.
No, I hear you, and I appreciate the points you're making. We got to go to break. I got to go to break, brother. We'll come back and take more calls. Listen, yes, the Republican Party knows Ron Paul really won those two states for sure, probably 3 or 4, but 2, Iowa, Maine for sure. And so they're scared, and they know that Campaign for Liberty and the Liberty Movement and our radio show and others are exposing Agenda 21, the New World Order. It's hot. You know, Charlie Daniels is waking up. I mean, it's happening everywhere. I traveled across the country, every place I went in, restaurants, a fireworks store. There was listeners everywhere. I went in a fireworks store with like 5 people, and 3 of them were listeners. Yes, but I'm saying that goes both ways. We don't now say, hey, we're infiltrating them. Let's play along with it. No. You go in there, you take it over openly. You take it over openly, and you tell Campaign for Liberty, don't start endorsing CFR people, or we'll create a whole new system. That's all I'm saying. Business Insider, see, it's going mainstream. This chart shows the Bilderberg Group's connection to everything in the world, and it shows how they sit in interlocking directorates over 400 plus of the Fortune 500. In fact, scroll down, we'll show people watching at prisonplanet.tv that. If not, I'm going to link to this right now at Infowars.com, and it ties in with a big article we've got today by Aaron Dykes that's at Infowars.com. We've now finally scanned all hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of the 1966 Bilderberg documents, exclusive Bilderberg 1966 data dump, The War on Nationalism Exposed. Very powerful article and hundreds of pages of documents now in PDF. It went up last night, and the article was written this morning. I guess Aaron stayed up till like 3 in the morning to get this done. It is up there right now at Infowars.com in the featured news area. Be sure and get all of that out. And I will get into the nanny state. I will get into male fertility plunging. That's a London Independent article. We will get into U.S. cities embrace software to automatically detect suspicious behavior. Slate.com. Hey, how about systems to automatically detect suspicious government behavior that our founders warned us of? Oh, it's not suspicious behavior. It's shipping guns to Mexico to blame the Second Amendment and the false flag. It's shipping Al-Qaeda into Libya and now Syria, publicly. I mean, what are you doing running Al-Qaeda? Well, we always knew you ran it, but now it's admitted? You think we're that stupid? What are you doing with not letting us mark GMO food? What are you doing with all this tyranny and trillions in banker bailouts and corporate welfare? What are you doing? They're like, hey, you know what we're doing? We're robbing you blind, and you put up with it. You see, once you put up with corruption and you make excuses for it, the corrupt know you'll just pretty much start putting up with anything and everything. Like Jerry Sandusky's wife going on all these vacations with little abused kids and reportedly in the same room with her, but she didn't know what was going on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the same thing with all these crimes and situations. We just put up with the TSA abusing us, and it just becomes normalized, like Nazi Germany or Soviet Russia or the Aztecs. It was normal to have child sacrifice every morning when the sun came up all over Mesoamerica under the Mayans. And to them, that was normal. Well, you know what? It isn't normal. It's sick, it's demented, and this culture is buried alive, and I want to dig us out of it. They love it. These disasters, it's just beautiful to them. They love it, and we're giving the worst people control by not getting aggressive with them. All right, we're going to go to break and come back with John, Nana, Nicholas, Chris, George, everybody, and I will try to accelerate through calls for 30 minutes, and then I'm in a news blitz. And boy, is there a lot of I've already mentioned some of it. So stand by, countdown for that. Also, your purchases at InfoWarsShop.com or InfoWarsStore.com or link through at InfoWars.com make all this possible. We've got back in print for limited time, Tragedy and Hope, Top Globalist Insider, A Noble Lie DVD film, back in print also the latest edition of Strategic Relocation, and available at Infowars.com. Pro Pure Water Filters, 10% off with promo code WATER. Infowarsstore.com or 888-253-3139. Yeah, I am wound up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for another global transmission, another hour of InfoWars Live. I'm your host, Alex Jones. Open phones in this hour. Huge news blitz coming up at the bottom of the hour. Man, there's a lot of crazy news. I mean, I knew they were going to get around to it, but banned soft drinks above certain ounces, now milk products, popcorn in New York, Snoops in your trash can. This is going nationwide. That's all coming up. Also, a great article by Mike Adams from naturalnews.com. We have posted at Infowars.com. Zombies, deniers, sociopaths, schemers, and protectors. The 5 dominant personalities you'll encounter in the world gone mad. Yeah, and it's all people seeking power through false templates they've been taught. I mean, you call the protectors the henpeckers. And they're the types that, like, somebody's choking and nobody's helping, and they go, 911, 911, 911. You're like, you got to do a Heimlich maneuver. Are you trained in that? And after you save the person, you're like, you're a hero. Wait, stop so we can have the police arrest you. Arrest someone. I feel powerful when I do. I have no power, but through the system I have power. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead. I was streaming the consciousness of one of those people. In fact, I'm going to do an imitation of each one of these coming up. I should do a skit today before the nightly news and shoot it with somebody talking to me, and I'll play the part of each one. Anybody ready to go to the costume shop? A little bit of... Let's talk to John in Illinois. You're on the air. Go ahead. Welcome, my friend.
Good morning, Alex. Great show today. You're in top form. 2 quick points. The hot button one, Ron Paul. As you said many times on the show, he is a focal point. In 2008, we drafted Ron Paul to be our leader. I was with a Ron Paul meetup group. A former CEO of some corporation was in there with us. He said, I cannot believe that this isn't a top-down organization and you're not getting orders from headquarters. And we said, Mister, This is grassroots. It's from the bottom up. We drafted him. Okay, remember, before the kickoff to the 2008 election cycle, you had Ron Paul on, and he got about $500,000 in unsolicited donations. I was one of the ones who sent him a check. That proved to him that he was our standard bearer. Now, Alex, what happens if the Ron Paul revolution continues, and it is continuing? They are taking over the delegates. They're taking over the state convention.
Yeah, but they're not doing anything with it. Ron Paul, they're saying, may not even go to the big Ron Paul event they were putting on separate from the RNC because it might anger the Republicans. I'm seeing every sign. I mean, if Rand did a little bit of stuff to just not let the neocons attack him, he's done some of that. I left him alone. But then the Romney thing on top of all these endorsements of neocons, it's a major turn. I mean, there's a lot of people inside the campaign family. They've been concerned, and then now we're told to grow up. Again, the response is so political.
I'm concerned too, but they could be engaging in duplicity and then turning over. One other point about the police waking up. A good friend of mine, southwest side of Chicago, has a lot of Chicago police friends, and a couple of weeks ago, one of his police friends, his name will only be Pat here, he had a falling out with him because he didn't believe that 9/11 was an inside job and all this other stuff. And he got a call, and he basically apologized to him. He says, you know what? I've woken up, and I'm listening to Alex now. I've stopped listening to Mancow. So,
oh, well, let's not be mean to old Mancow. I was supposed to be on Mancow's show this morning, but I'd promised my children at 8:30 I'd go play with them, and I was supposed to be on at 8, and Mancow called me at 8:30, and I told my wife, don't answer, and she answers. Oh, come on the show. So I can't apologize to Mancow, but I can't not come on at the right time. Mancow overall is a good guy compared to a lot of the stuff that's on air. And if he doesn't think it's an inside job and that's always his view, that's fine. The reason Ron Paul and Rand Paul are held to a higher standard is that they were always the guys that were on the straight and narrow. Now for them to change course is a big deal. And they have changed course. And a lot of us, the dam broke on this because a lot of us were in somewhat of denial that we were seeing troubling signs. We're not stupid, like some of their people are saying. We're astute, and we know what we're seeing. Phone calls, big news blitz coming up at the bottom of the hour, and then I'll continue with calls today. No guess we have time to take a lot of calls. But even David Adams, Tea Party activist who managed Paul's Republican primary in 2010, said, my first thought really was that Rand may be suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. And that's where you love your abusers. Yes, cognitive dissonance, learned helplessness, normalcy bias. Yeah, that's what I've said. Rand and Ron are gentlemen. They're smart guys. And we're going to go over some quotes. Rand has now officially responded. The article and the text is up at Infowars.com. Headline, I'm supporting the party that I belong to. Rand Paul speaks about Romney endorsement. Which, this all started Thursday. It was a firestorm. I'd say 95% of people. In fact, we got to look at the poll that's on Infowars.com and get those numbers later on what our voters there are saying about it. But I've seen other polls, 95% are very upset. I mean, if this is business as usual, why didn't Ron Paul endorse McCain 4 years ago? I mean, Rand didn't have to run out on TV. He could have later said, well, I have some issues with Romney, but, you know, he is the nominee. But instead, it's like, I have a lot in common with him. We know you met with him a few weeks ago. You're being looked at for VP. I know that's been going on behind the scenes. And Rand does make the argument that, hey, we've gotten chairmanships. We're taking over the party. Okay, but you add that with Campaign for Liberty endorsing neocons like Mr. Cruz in Texas, who supports property taxes, and his wife CFR. You add to that the fact that they're not as hardcore as they used to be, that he's endorsing sanctions that his father says is an act of war and shouldn't. I mean, people are like, well, he's Rand. He's not his dad. Exactly. Exactly. But so we don't have to be in a total love affair with Rand. We're not saying he's bad. We're allies with him on many issues, but it's not bad for us, as a bunch of the party operatives have been saying. I mean, here's, again, this article, syndicated column, is in the New Jersey papers, California papers. 2 words for those that upset by the Rand Paul endorsement of Mitt Romney. Grow up. Paul Mulshine. And it goes on to say, one of the problems with the mass movements is they're made up of the masses, and the masses just aren't that smart. You're saying libertarian constitutionalists aren't that smart? I've seen the numbers, the youth, but also the high test scores, the older folks, the wealth level of Ron Paul supporters is a giant middle class, upper middle class, and wealthy movement. I mean, we're not idiots, okay? Constitutionalism is something that people that have been somewhat successful, that don't want to be leached off of, and understand due process of law and protections are important. I mean, now we're unwashed idiots. But, I mean, that sounds like MSNBC. All they do is get on MSNBC and talk about how smart so-called liberals are and how great they are and how they want to manage and run things and how stupid everyone else is. I mean, that really gets me mad. And being lectured by, it looks like 14-year-old, Jack Hunter with his comb over. I'm not trying to be mean, but I mean, it's insulting reading off a teleprompter going, oh, we need to do this. I mean, come on, man. Come on. I'm not buying it, okay? And again, it's the response that's made people even madder. But the big issue is Obama. He's out of control. But his political star is starting to fall. I'm going to cover that later. And so I wish we had somebody better. I mean, Ron Paul kept saying in Campaign for Liberty, hey, keep giving money, keep fighting for delegates. We're going to go in there and demand things and take over. So people would show up at state parties like Louisiana just to get the delegates where they'd won, the most delegates. And they were beat up and sent to the hospital. And Paul's like, Ron Paul's... his dad, Ron Paul, comes out and says, need to be respectful. Oh, I mean, I got news articles where the Pauls are saying they may not even show up at the thing that's been planned for 6 months to have this big counter convention where constitutional ideas are put out. And they're like, we don't know if we can go to that. Oh, yeah. And the Republicans are saying they might not give us those fairgrounds. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we don't know about that. That might upset Mitt Romney. If we have a group of people pointing out big government's out of control. Ron Paul won CPAC 2 years in a row, got standing ovations with anti-war statements, anti-corporate welfare statements. And the Republican Party said, don't have him back this next year. This year. Because they're scared. They know what's happening. That's why they cheated and stole and would lie when he won polls and said he couldn't win. And when he did win the first few states, they shut all that down. And now it's like, hey, we're taking over the party. Thanks for the $50 million you gave us the last 2 election cycles. And then they pass over in all these states people who've got great records and who are constitutionalists for people like Mr. Cruz here in Texas, who's pro-property taxes and a globalist. I mean, look, what's happening is you're not taking over the Republicans, they're taking you over when we had a real chance to really take over the Republican Party. And so we're going to state this. I know there's a bunch of camp followers that want to be able to hang out with the senators and be part of all the people they elect in this new Republican power move. It isn't anything if it's just bought and paid for by the same special interest. And I know I'm ranting now, so we'll go to your calls. But just look at these headlines here. Ron Paul still isn't sure if he's going to his own Republican convention festival, Business Insider. That's freaking people out. David Adams, the former head manager for Paul's Republican primary campaign in 2010, said, his first thought is that Ron's suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. I met with a Coast Guard guy, a really nice fella, a few months ago who was here in town visiting, family with his girlfriend. And we went and had lunch and talked. And, he was like, I'm a little concerned, but, about playing politics. But and where things were going and the people in the campaign were concerned. And that wasn't off record. I mean, Rand knew he was at that meeting with me. I've talked to other people that are off record. Some of them aren't off record, but I'm still not going to say what they told me 3-4 months ago that was concerned. I'm like, oh, I'm sure it'll be all right. Well, again, I think it's just the upset is the realization that things have really changed. And later after I go to calls, I'm going to read over this big article that's got a transcript of the interview he did with Peter Schiff and the video of it. I'm supporting the party that I belong to. Rand Paul speaks about Romney endorsement. There are definitely things in between good and evil. There are definitely things in between good and evil. So he's not just saying lesser of two evils. It's now there's things in between good and evil. Yeah, I mean, if Romney hadn't called for assault weapons bans for 20-plus years and passed anti-gun laws in the state he was in, if Romney hadn't been such a pusher of abortion, if he hadn't written Obamacare, if he hadn't pushed for open borders and amnesty, if he hadn't pushed for carbon taxes, if he hadn't been involved in banker bailouts, if he hadn't been involved in so much bad, there might be able to, I mean, you could say, well, this guy isn't perfect, but we can try to influence him. You know, he's better than Obama. But, folks, he isn't. In fact, he's worse in ways because he has an R before his name. And all the conservatives and libertarians that were starting to wake up under Obama, they're going to go to sleep because there's this idea that well, all these Democrats were upset about warrantless wiretaps, checkpoints, secret arrests, torture, wars. As soon as Obama got in, they're like, we love torture, we love war, we love NDAA, we love banker bailouts. And we're like, you didn't like it under Bush? They didn't care. It's going to be the exact same thing. Do I want Obama in? No. Justice be done, may the heavens fall. I want Obama to go to prison. Let me tell you, the Republicans went after Obama for Fast and Furious, his lying, started impeaching him. Then there were indictments. I would say, whoa, the power structure really understood things are going down if we don't reverse this. Okay, yeah, I'm for the Republicans. But you're not going to see any of that. You're seeing some election time patty cake out there where they are, oh, we're going to subpoena you. We're going to start the debate on you being in contempt, Holder. Holder is in press conferences 2.5 years ago admitting they had a gun running program by name, just claiming it was something else, and that he directed it and was running it with the FBI. There's 8 federal agencies involved. It predates him. They just accelerated it and included hand grenades, full auto, and the drug gangs in the U.S. to control it. But Bush was involved as well. That's why Holder said that. I predicted he would say that. Again, I know how they operate. They're so corrupt, none of them can report on the other ones now. Because, oh, you're going to go after the UN for sex slavery? You're going to go after the UN for narcotics trafficking? We'll go after your bank for doing that. Or you're going to go after our politician for this? We're going to go after you for that. They all know. The NSA has it all logged, and whoever the president is and whoever the CIA director is, they got access to all that. And when they leave office, the Clintons still run Washington to a great extent because they took all those files with them. And they use them against everybody. And they know everything. Everything. What hooker somebody visited. What prostitute they visited. What bribe they took. They know all of it. And so there's this unified corruption now rotting to the point of we're now going into terminal corruption where at every level nobody can say no because nobody will call on the other group because even if you're involved in just a little bit of corruption, they're going to get you on it. Or you just want your job and your pension if you're really low level, so you better keep your mouth shut, and so we lose everything. This is how societies fall. And no amount of, 30,000, it's like cockroaches, when you spray them with poison, they start running around eating and fornicating because they know they're about to die. And so 30,000 drones, checkpoints, pillboxes, bullets, none of that's going to save you from your own theft. The trillions stolen every few years by the Pentagon, the no-bid contracts, the government just in everyone's face, the inexorable confrontations that will come. All right, we're going to come back, take a few segments of calls, then I'll get into the news. But there's your big rant on that subject, and I will get into the amazing quotes. I mean, here's the Christian Science Monitor. Is Ron Paul getting ready to endorse Mitt Romney? And then it shows how the press releases they're putting out are like, settle down, be nice. I may not go to the event you set up for me to have our own convention. No, we're not outsiders now. What's happened is they have married Campaign for Liberty and all their little comb-over advisors who think they're Karl Roves in the making. They have married them to the Republicans, and there's a big power trip going on. And we're supposed to just kneel down and go, okay, You have that interview where you isolate the part where he says, there are definitely things between good and evil. Yeah, that's how everybody always starts selling out to corruption, and pretty soon you hit rock bottom. Man, I tell you, I want to get off this Rand Paul subject. Every day I tell myself I'm not going to cover it. And then every day I just see that I was right about my initial gag reflex. I mean, one thing if Rand Paul would have come out and said, well, I disagree with a lot of what he stands for, but he's better than Obama, which really that wouldn't be true either. But we're going to try to influence him. And it was like, no, he is the man. And by the way, we may not have that other conference, and you be respectful. And, you know, let's endorse a bunch of CFR people. And if you don't like it, grow up. All right, I'm going to shut up. Shut up, Jones, and take calls. George in Florida, go ahead.
Yes, Alex. I'm 75 years of age and may have a slightly different perspective on the Ron Paul thing.
Yes, tell me.
All right. You're a warrior, and I greatly respect you, and the Bilderberg stuff was great. But Ron at his age is more like a sage, and he's been giving out a message for years. I don't think he's afraid of threats against his own life, but I think what happened in Louisiana with the caucus and what happened to his head man there being knocked down by the police and dragged out and put in the hospital could have affected him dearly, because he does not want his people to suffer that kind of injury.
Yeah, well, the Founding Fathers didn't want us to suffer any injury. We would have been total slaves if a bunch of them hadn't died. I mean, I don't think we can twist things to make all of what's going on okay, because if we do this, they're going to turn completely into neocon land. At least Rand is. We've got a hope here of spanking them back onto the, you know, narrow here. But again, the liberty movement, Ron Paul and Rand Paul are popular because we've made freedom popular. You've done it, sir. And
yes, I gave money to their campaigns, and I'm on Social Security, and I am disappointed, but I think as a lone messenger for all those years, Ron Paul is a brave man. And
I agree with you, but their campaign people who speak for them are being condescending. They're not saying we understand your view, but, you know, listen, no, it's like, well, you're just stupid. And, okay, fine then. You made your bed, sleep in it. We got a poll running right now. 85% disagree with what Rand's done at Infowars.com.
May I say that since I'm 75 and Ron Paul's 76, what if we were to find out 6 months or a year from now that he or his wife had been diagnosed with terminal cancer?
No, I understand. Listen,
would we attack him and throw him under the bus, or say thank you for the years you've put in? As an older person, I'm just saying we should be a little bit kinder and gentler toward Ron Paul and not throw him under the bus.
I hear you. Listen, I feel like I've been thrown under the bus. So let's get that straight. We're not throwing anybody under the bus. We're upset about what happened, and we're getting feedback that we're bad because, not from the listeners, you're one of the few callers that disagrees, but from the establishment that we just don't get it. No, we get how the compromising works. We liked Ron Paul because he never did compromise. And if I was diagnosed with terminal cancer, I would get even more hardcore in what I believed in. I certainly wouldn't back off. And maybe they know what they're doing. Maybe they realize they've got so much power in the Republican Party that if they just play possum, they can really get in there. And maybe down the road, I'll say, well, look, my gut tells me this is bad. My gut told me stuff was going wrong months ago, but I denied my gut. And
Louisiana on that Tuesday, a week or so ago, when the Republican guy in charge of the caucus, supposedly 121 out of 121 out of 180 delegates in Louisiana were Ron Paul people.
Yeah.
They called in the Shreveport police, and they knocked this guy down and put him in the hospital. He was so blood red in the face, I thought he'd have a heart attack.
No, and Ron Paul's response is, you be respectful. It's his fault. And now, they're talking about not even going and meeting with their supporters at the event because they know they're so mad.
It's a great disappointment. I just wanted to give a point of view of a 75-year-old. I think Ron Paul we all have human failures.
Sir, I hear you, and I appreciate your points. Thank you. Listen, you're not getting it. 100 years old, 25 years old. People say, oh, Ron Paul isn't Rand. That was the first talking point. Look, they coordinated his release. That made me upset. That, okay, we're not going to win with the delegates now. Well, they knew that months before, but strung people along. I didn't like watching people get played like that. Like cult members running around in front of me, even in my office. I was like, look, dude, this isn't going to happen. Okay, they're doing this just to continue to keep momentum going. Okay? Oh, no, Alex, we're going to win. It's going to happen. He's going to do something big. And I'm like, no, he's not. And then he coordinates the day that his son goes and endorses Mitt Romney on Sean Hannity, and then all the other coordinations. Very important to paint a tapestry of what's a gestalt of what's going on so we can look into that field of data and portend our course. But right now, let's go to Chris in Florida. You're on the air. Welcome.
How you doing, Alex? I'm a first-time caller. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I just had one statement I wanted to make, and then I had a quick question for you.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
My statement is I just wanted to let you know that your message is reaching the masses. I don't really get into the award shows, but my wife asked me to sit down and watch the MTV Movie Awards with her. And in Russell Brand's opening statement, he threw in a bunch of comments about global elitists running the world from the shadows. And when he signed off for the night, he ended it by saying, "Long live the revolution." I didn't know if you guys had people that could, like, search.
Listen, I was listening to XM this morning driving in. I think I was listening to the Boneyard, one of the rock channels, just going through it, and I heard the lady going, "There's a movement against children being able to have lemonade stands and learn the free market system. The federal government's out of control, and it's part of a plan to track everything we do." And I only caught part of it, and she said, "So get behind this national movement today." Guys, will you look up a national movement for lemonade stands today or this week coming up? I mean, I don't know what... The point is, I meant to... I actually left my cell phone at home, so I couldn't call you guys from the road, so I forgot about that. I'd already left and didn't have the little data tracker, so I was unable to do that. But... And all the time now, I listen to local radio, national radio. I'll be listening to a country music station. There are liberty lovers everywhere who are really realizing this is serious, and they can't stop everybody in the media if we all just start going public. And that's what's happening. All over the place, mainstream news is reporting on Bilderberg. All over the place, people are talking about the GMO in the food. I'm sorry, go ahead.
This was broadcasted across the world, Alex, and he made more than one comment about these globalists.
Okay, well, I know that's exciting because I know Muse, the only links they have on their official site, one of the top bands out there, and I've had him on, he's a listener, Bellamy, they talk about the New World Order. Almost every big rock band I end up talking to, I don't care if it's, I mean, you name it. I'm not, well, some people want to be off record, so I won't say their names, but it's pretty incredible, is all I can say. How many people are awake? But again, most of them don't want to go public. They just think that I'm a touchstone, and if they give me a call or something that, hey, we appreciate what you're doing, we know what's happening, and I'm like, why don't you come on the show? And they're like, oh, it's a little too scary, but maybe someday. Okay, fine. And again, there's no way to even really contact me other than email or through my intermediaries because I'm too busy. So sometimes I talk to famous people who've been trying to get in hold of me for 2 years. So, and again, I'm not bragging. I'm saying that's a sounding board. That's a sonar ping of how many people are awake. Go ahead.
My question is, my youngest child, he's 4, he'll be 5 next month. He does have a pretty significant developmental delay. He's 4 going on 5. The doctor said in his mind he's more like 3 going on 4, so he's about a year behind. And I'm trying to enroll him for school next year, but I don't want to vaccinate him. And they're telling me here in Florida that there's no way I can put him in public school without him getting his vaccination, because I'm pretty sure the delays that he has are directly related to...
Yeah, but they want to brain damage him more. You see, it is genetically predisposed that the aluminum dioxide and other chemicals are causing the autoimmune response in his brain. And then genetically, some people, especially boys in general, but across the board, blacks, it's even worse, black males, that it causes a really bad autoimmune response in the brain. Women are designed to have another human grow inside them with a different blood type. So women, on average, have less allergies, can take bigger, abuse to their bodies. They're not as physically strong, but they're health-wise much, much stronger. They can't bench press as much, but they can take bigger gun wounds, hatchet attacks, drugs, poison. Women are, any doctor will tell you, much tougher than men. And so it's killing our boys. A lot of them die when they get the shots. Now the pediatric associations are having to say, it's normal to have a seizure now when you get your shot. Everything's okay. So don't bring your kid back in, so they have to do the adverse reaction report. Just go home, have a seizure. Even if your 4-year-old or 2-year-old doesn't ever talk again, that's normal. And here's the total fraud. There is a religious exemption. There is also a conscientious objection and a medical exemption in Florida. Some states only have 2. I remember from, guys, pull up vaccine exemption Florida, and we'll give the guy the actual law. But the criminals at the brainwashing, filthy, murderous government death camp known as a public school, where your child will learn how to use drugs and be picked on by bullies and become sexually active and live in hell and be henpecked and be put in the database and filmed in the bathroom. Those hardcore criminals who just think it's normal, we've got to tell them, no, you're hardcore criminals. They lie because when they get 97% vaccination rates, brain damage rates, murder rates, they get a big part of their federal funding. Large parts, I think it's up to $2,000 per student. On average, that's more than a third. Well, no, the average student costs $7,000, so it's under a third. But they get a lot of their federal funding where they take our money and send it back, globalist funding, when they've had all the shots. There is no law. The exemption is to the state health department policy. Like Rick Perry came out and said, it's the law, all girls must take Gardasil ages 12 and 13. Tens of thousands went out, took them, a bunch died, a bunch had died in the trials. Didn't matter, vaccine damage money kicked in. Once government mandates it, it's not the law, but they mandate it, then vaccine taxpayer money kicks in to pay for the damages. They are lying to you when they tell you that it is the law and you're not going to go to public school. It is a total and complete fraud. On screen, I have the state exemptions. Available exemptions, medical and religious. And it goes on. Religious exemption request must be presented to DH Form 681, religious exemption form immunization, which is to be issued by the county health departments. And again, it's not to a law, it's to the health departments. You notice I told you that before they put it on screen. So imagine the savage, rageful, deceptive. I mean, let me tell you something. If I was in a school and some dirty principal or some dirty murdering nurse, that's what they are, sat there like a punk and told me, sorry, it's the law, knowing it's the law, they've got to give you the exemption. And then planning, if your child's already in school and hadn't taken the next round, they will arrest you by kicking them out of school, saying they're truant, and then saying you created the truancy when they falsely kicked you out, and the law is applicable on them, not you, another criminal racketeering mafia operation. I mean, think of the scum. Tell me about the filth that's told you it's the law in Florida. Your child must be further soft-killed.
Yep, they told me there was no way I could get him in public schools without the proper vaccination.
Filthy, scum, criminal, lying, garbage. Again, when Austin, we've had top scientists, doctors, toxicologists, heads of university departments come to them, and the mayor gets up and laughs and walks off. They put in Austin over 200, some cities over 300, chemicals, lead, mercury, radioactive isotopes, and fluoride in your water and savagely assault you and then laugh at you when you go down there. I mean, these are, see, we've lost our human response. So again, did you call the filth? Did you call the school? Were you there in person? Because you should go in there with a hidden...
I went to the school in person. I called the health department. I have not been to the health department yet. This all transpired last week.
Did the health department lie to you too? I mean, hey, they're like, listen, listen, Chris, Chris, your son's only partially brain damaged. We want to kill your little boy. So don't get out of our way and let us kill him. Please, please, Chris. Don't listen to Alex Jones. Don't get angry about us lying. Number one, there is no law. It's an exemption to a policy. Do you understand? So the health department lied to you. Of course they did. They're criminals.
Well, my 9-year-old, I tell my 9-year-old all the stuff that I learn in my research from you, from other patriots out there on the internet. And my 9-year-old knows if they try to give him a needle in school, that he is to absolutely tell them no.
And by the way,
my
we learned this a decade ago, and people didn't believe it. Now it's all over the news. Oh, we accidentally lined up all the 6-year-olds. They do it to really little kids. That's all abusers of children target the really little ones because they can't, aren't as articulate, especially because they've had their shots. And they line them up, and they go, oh, we thought you wanted your child to have it. See, the criminality of lying has gone to now shooting them up and not telling you. Then they have a seizure is when you usually find out. They're like, yeah, we gave him a shot. You said you could. And you're like, no, I didn't. I specifically put a letter in. Oh, sorry. The SWAT team standing by. If you don't like it, Jack Squat, we're going to assault your family. And again, now it's to the point in California and other states, they go give your child the shot without consent if they can convince your 10-year-old to let them do it. Well, the children can't give consent. Again, this is a criminal, rogue, filthy, and listen, you hit my hot button right there, brother. So you called the health department, they lied to you, you went into the school, tell us the story, because parents should start going in with hidden cameras.
He was 4 this year, and he went into a pre-K program for children with developmental delays. And I even gave his pre-K teacher, who is a special education teacher, a copy of the article and the research that you posted in reference to the vaccines giving monkeys autism. And it doesn't matter.
Listen, that person's there to get their paycheck. That person, you don't convince a lying criminal. So you talk to was it the nurse or the scumbag principal?
I talked to the vice principal.
Okay, so the scumbag criminal, you should sue them for fraud and for racketeering, for lying and saying a medical procedure was mandatory and misrepresenting a non-existent law. Okay, being nice to these people, it's over, okay? Their mind game is over. Shooting black men up with syphilis and now our troops with it, it's over. It's over. The experimentation, the DU, it's over. It's over. And you got all these cowards that go along with it. Do you understand that filthy principal knew that by law they were supposed to give you the waiver that was in their filing cabinet? Do you understand that?
I do now.
Do you understand they were preying on you? Okay, I mean, listen, I'm not a guy looking for trouble, but that's like fighting stuff. You understand? I mean, I would have trouble in there if I went in knowing they were going to lie and the guy said, it's the law. I'd say, listen, you filthy piece of trash. Millions of children are brain damaged from 1 in 25,000 to 1 in 58. Pediatric cancers are up over 10,000%. I knew you were going to lie. You see my hat? It's got a camera in it. Here is the government's own report about over 100 million people getting cancer from the 50s through the 80s from HV40 alone and the polio vaccine. Now, also it's on the video. I want you to know I videotaped all this, and I'm gonna expose you for your criminality. Admit that you have a waiver and that it's not even a waiver to a law, and then get them to admit it. Or wait until they say it and lie to you and say there's no waiver, and then tell them you're taping them. It's time to start getting aggressive with the buckets of filth that are the criminal, government, and corporate enforcers who want to assault our families. Where is our fighting spirit? So tell me what this Decepticon told you.
His only response was that you cannot register a child for public schools in the state of Florida without the proper vaccination, either from his primary doctor or the health department.
It's amazing. All right, you want to tell us the name of the school?
Pride Elementary.
Well, here's the deal. This is done everywhere. So I knew exactly what he'd say to you. And let me guess, he said, it's going to be all right. Did you try to put his hand on your arm? He's like, we got to get this in the kid to get the money. I want to go play golf today.
No.
He was authoritative with you? He was like, you need to...
Somewhat. I will be back at the school, though, with this new information about this waiver. They haven't heard the last of me, and I have to do everything in my power to keep those needles from going in my children.
Well, again, how do these scumbags get away with all this? They do it through ignorance. The people perish for lack of knowledge. Again, do we compromise with a system engaged in medical tyranny that tens of thousands of our troops have been hit with nerve gas and biologicals and chemicals in tests, including killing them? And again, we're not in Kansas, folks. People are like, oh, you're so brave, they may kill you. It doesn't matter. There's no future if we don't beat these people. Haven't anyone figured this out yet? I appreciate your call, sir. You really hit my hot button right there. Just type in vaccine exemption forms, the name of your state, and then all the parents listening. The doctors, a decade ago, everywhere would say, there's no mercury in the shots. That's a conspiracy theory. And I told people, okay, doc, okay, nurse, give me the insert. The Marisol, what's that? Oh, mercury. Okay? Look, listen, they have criminal CPS, and here's the problem. We have to say no now, just like they imply having guns is illegal and arrest people for legal guns now in this country. We have to speak out against it. They are already having CPS take people's children. Every week I see reports where the parents say no to the shots and there's no law, but they still just take them, and because there's no jury, it's usually a pedophile. We've profiled them, or pervert judge, and like the Texas Youth Commission with their rape rooms for your child. I mean, these are pedophiles. Of course they're hiring pedophiles at all the TSA facilities to be the commanders. Who else do you think wants to do that? No one normal would do that. We have a hell force attacking us. A hell force has risen against us. They're all around us, and I declare war right back on you. You murdering filth. Oh, man, I can't handle it anymore. I will not sit here while you brain damage and murder children anymore. I will not sit here while you radiate us and radiate our food anymore. I will not sit here while you genetically engineer soft kill weapons into our food. I will not sit here and take it anymore. I mean, you folks, if you woke up to what was really going on, you realize this is a completely normal response. I am desperately here begging you to break your trance. Nicholas in Illinois, you're on the air. Take us to break. Go ahead. Can you speak, sir?
Energy.
Okay, Nana. Well, Nicholas, go.
Nicholas, I'm going to continue with that guy I said prior about Russell Brand. I thought that was really big of him calling out, and on his commercial he even mentions the Illuminati, so I think you guys should contact him and try to get him on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Russell Brand, he hosted the MTV Awards, and he called out a bunch of the globalist elites and the Illuminati. The prior guy was...
That's good. Who is Russell Brand?
He used to be married to Katy Perry. He has a new show coming out, but he's kind of like a pop culture. He's an actor / musician, whatever. But I decided, like I said, he called out to MTV, which is one of the largest...
largest brainwashing systems, yeah.
Exactly. I live in Chicago, and do you guys have any stations that pick up your show?
We're on a couple in Illinois. They're always changing and stuff. There's a list at GCNlive.com. Stay there. I'll come back to you on the other side. I didn't give you much time there. All right, stay with us. Ranting rage during the break with the crew. They're angry. They're talking about, how they try to take blood at birth and then admit, okay, we are keeping it for research. That's now admitted. They just do whatever they want. And how they lie and say pregnant women especially need all the vaccines. Until 4 years ago, every insert said don't give it to a pregnant woman. Kids with heart trouble, they're trying to give vaccines and say, oh, your child needs more. It's eugenics to kill them. In all medical literature for the last 100 years, no vaccines for pregnant women. It causes autoimmune responses. All sorts of genetic disorders get kicked off by it. Autoimmune response, you lose your baby. And because of that, they decided to go all the way, and starting 3.5 years ago said women especially who are pregnant need it, and handicapped kids. And I have to watch them hurting these little kids. It makes me so angry. And then I'm exhausted all day. I just want to beat these people. I want to put them all in prison too. Let me tell you something. That's a serious crime, administrators, to sit there and lie to the parents and say it's the law and then kick people's children out of the public schools. They do this all over the country. Oh, you didn't take your shots, and then they kick you out, and the cops come and arrest the parents for truancy, and it's all a giant fraud, but the juries are so dumb, even if the parents fight it, they're like, yep, your kid wasn't in school for a week because you didn't take a shot. I've seen these people on the news. I mean, it's just all fraud. They're killing us. The same government that put U.S. troops in chambers and radiated them to death and put foster kids in them, look it up, is running this. They're killing us. They're killing us. And the globalists, they're murdering us. I'm going to say it again. They're murdering us. They're murdering us. It's eugenics. All right, where's the last caller? Did he hang up? I said I'd come back to him after the break. Nana in Canada, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, how are you, handsome?
I'm having a heart attack today. What's on your mind?
I can see that. The only thing that I have to say is about the whole Ron Paul and Rand Paul thing. My feeling is, and my husband's feeling is, imagine they did all this campaigning just to see who's on the opposition, basically, who is part of the resistance, and now they're planning ahead, basically, to put us down.
Well, that's what they say. Peter Thiel, the Bilderberg, has bragged that he supported Paul just to map with computers who everybody is to then understand how to target them politically. And this, oh my God, if this was some 20-year mole operation, that has to be looked at now. That's what I mean. That's why I'm so sick about this. We have to open up an entire research operation now.
Yeah, we have to get to the bottom of this. It's kind of ridiculous to see that we have supported this man for so long, and just like that, he turns around and says, don't worry about it, let's be respectful. I will not be respectful about this matter. It's my life, it's my baby's life, and it's your life at stake here. So he can go to hell as far as I know.
Well, thank you for those words, for saying he won't back down, but I don't think Ron Paul needs to go to hell. Ron Paul hasn't done all this yet, but he's supporting Rand. I understand their delusion. I know Rand. He seems like a nice guy. I think Rand has lost touch with reality, like his former campaign head said. Maybe he's got Stockholm Syndrome, you know? Well, I mean, what did you think as you've seen all this unfold, and now their surrogates are in the news saying we're stupid and need to grow up?
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much how it feels like. Yeah, it pretty much feels like we're stupid right now because we put our hands in this guy's, we put our faith in this guy's hands, and this is what happens? Yeah, I feel pretty much fucking stupid.
All right, thank you for the call. We're going to be right back after this quick break. Another hour is coming up straight ahead. And I've covered some news in the first hour, a little bit this hour. Look, if the water doesn't rise over Bear Creek, if the Lucky Charms elf doesn't skip the moon, we're going to cover all this news straight ahead. Stay with us. When schools lie to you and say it's the law, your children take vaccines and children die and have brain damage from it, that's an accessory to murder. Need to just get that straight. Okay, boy, here we are in another hour. I've got totally insane news that I've got to cover coming up in the next segment. But let's go to some more calls here right now. Let's talk to Dolores in Tennessee. You're on the air, Dolores.
Hey, it's Doris, but anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry, Doris.
That's okay. If people have not learned by now that we're seeing the same people over and over, Eric Holder, Bill Maher, when you think about Ruby Ridge, Randy Weaver, Oklahoma City bombing, all the things that the federal government has done to this country, and they can't see by now. I don't know if they're ever going to see, like the 70-some-year-old man, doesn't he know you go back and look at what's happened to know what's going to happen later?
Well, I mean, Doris, it's not even the federal government. It is a total foreign criminal group breaking the law in front of everyone, just flagrantly in our face. We're listening to everything you do without warrants. And, we have built re-education centers.
I stand corrected, but I'm brainwashed, too, to a certain point, when we begin to say things like that.
Oh, no, I'm brainwashed, too. I say our military, it's not our military, it's the globalist military. I say federal government. It's not the occupied federal government. I mean, we've got to really realize, people always say I exaggerate. It's almost always 10 times worse than what I'm saying. I mean, reality is so wild, and just how much they've gotten away with.
Well, go back and look. Yeah, go back and look at Randy Weaver. He's still alive today. He's 64 years old. They killed his wife, his son, his dog. They have standoff at Ruby Ridge.
They hate the American people 100 times worse than the Iraqis, and that's what's so sad about good old boys. Are like, kill all the Iraqis.
And then Waco happened, and then the Oklahoma City bombing happened. All of it happened. And Randy Weaver sued the government and won his case $3,360,000, and he won against the federal government. Nobody ever reported that they set him up to do the sawed-off shotguns when he would not be a straw man for them.
No, they told him, they said, you're going to, because you're a former Green Beret, you're going to go infiltrate the Klan. He said, I'm not going to do that, the Aryan nations. And so they set him up, and they did.
And then he was on the Bill Maher show. You see Bill Maher over and over throughout all this history. And then even the bounty hunter that was with the Casey Anthony trial. I mean, you know, he's wearing the same black hat he wore back then. I mean, it's ridiculous what they have done to this wonderful United States of America.
I hear you, ma'am.
I cannot believe it.
I hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, what's happened is people began watching television in the 50s. They stopped talking to their neighbors, and they began just drooling, and our whole world is programmed by whatever the system puts out. Now they brought the internet out to track and trace everybody, but it's backfired on them. We're using it, so they want to curtail that. I mean, it's just absolute insanity. Absolute, total, tongue-dragging the ground insanity. There's a method to the madness. Their abuse of the population is scientific, but the directive, the reason they do the abuse is crazy. So they've scientifically set up a system to abuse us and enslave us and destroy all that's good and lift up all that's evil and invent new wickedness, as the Bible says they do. But the driving force behind it is madness. So it's a scientific madness. And heaven help us. Okay, boy, I'm going to do the news blitz of news blitzes after this quick break. And then I will continue onward and upward with your phone calls. Ray, Chase, Chris, David, and many others. 800-25-99231. Are kicking off another hour of global transmission against tyranny. I am Alex Jones, your host, the tip of the spear when it comes to the fight for no compromise, true liberty, and the exposure of the global technocratic slave state calling itself the New World Order. Really just a bunch of private mega banks that are anti-free market, want global monopolies where they exempt themselves from all the laws that they get our puppet states to pass. We are here to unlock the minds of the people and doing a pretty darn good job, especially thanks to all your help out there spreading the word about the show, whether you listen on a local AM and FM station, global shortwave, the internet at Infowars.com, whether you watch us at prisonplanet.tv or XM166. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, let me get back into more of the news. I've mentioned some of this, but let me just get into this right now. Here's a story out of Slate. U.S. cities embrace software to automatically detect suspicious behavior. These are systems where if you start talking to people on the street, they call the police on you. If it looks like you're hanging things up, they call police on you. And, you know, don't we need computers like this watching the crooks in government? Oh, no, everything government does is national security. And if somebody whistleblows on corruption, they get arrested. So, again, we need people watching the suspicious activities of the federal government. Here's another one. After Google's spy cars and planes, company unleashes backpack cameras as latest device in bid to map entire world. Google is a globalist NSA front, so they can make private money off of ripping you off. Google, don't be evil, was their cover. Really evil people and groups don't come out and dress up like Darth Vader. They come with a little ice cream cone like Warren Buffett in every photo. I'm an old man. I got an ice cream cone. I'm the biggest recipient of taxpayer money. That's why I want to raise taxes on rich people. You know, those making $125,000 a year. And folks that think that sounds rich go, yeah, he's nice. He got an ice cream cone. Look, Mommy. Again, it's all camouflage. And so now they're announcing drones everywhere because the globalists know that you see it, if it's corporate, as less threatening. Oh, like corporate mercenaries coming after you. Here's another one. Health panel talks about wider food ban. Fox News reports out of New York City, fresh off of banning soft drinks above 16 ounces. You can have all you want of aspartame. It's the sugared ones. If you want, you know, the deadly wood alcohol, formaldehyde, breaks down at 87 degrees, your body's way above that. Stuff that gives you macular degeneration, all sorts of cancer, brain damage, addictive, that's fine. You want some GMO? Want some GMO corn that kills bugs if they eat it? It's got so much naturally growing pesticide in it. It's a pharmacological crop. That's fine. But you want popcorn? Gonna ban that, and gonna ban beef, ice cream. It's all going to be tracked. They say milk's bad, so there you go. First they banned the healthy milk, and now the other stuff they're going to try to restrict it. So milk products, because the government says what you eat. And then when you get sick from their soft kill weapons, they'll take even more rights away from you and lie to you and say it's the law to take vaccines. Oh, remember in New York City, and the feds came out and said that the air was safe to breathe when their own internal reports said it was full of asbestos, atomized glass, mercury, and now massive deaths from cancer. Famous people stayed in the area, died from it. You've seen those cases in the news. Almost all the dogs within 2 years died, even 5-year-old German Shepherds, nasal cancer, lung cancer. And still, there's reports out where they're trying to get the cancers covered for the firefighters and police and other people. Because regardless of what really happened on 9/11, the folks that responded were heroes. But the New York Post said you're ambulance chasers if you want money. So there you go. It's a conspiracy theory that was bad for you, because government never lies. Of course, all they do is lie. Continuing here with some of the other news. Here's an article out of London Independent. So which of these does harm male fertility? And they say, no, it's not cigarette, studies show, because they have systems where they pump smoke in on rats. It's not alcohol, like they said. It's not even fattening food. It must be shorts that are too tight. And it is true that you don't want to get, if you have low sperm count and can't get your wife pregnant, you don't want, because I've read about it. I don't have that problem, that you don't want to get in hot water above 100 degrees when you take a bath or a shower or hot tub, and you don't want to wear underwear. You want to boost testosterone levels, you don't wear underwear, because that's why your testicles are on the outside of your body. This is just medical news, folks. They're on the outside of your body because the sperm need to be in 96 degrees or lower, and testosterone needs to be developed in the testes at 96 degrees or lower. That's why they're on the outside of mammals. Outside, not inside. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. And so that's basically the breakdown on that front. But they say sperm counts have dropped 87% because you're not wearing the right underwear. So there you have it. That's only part of it, ladies and gentlemen. It's the estrogen mimickers, the bisphenol A's, and others. That's what the real studies show. Okay, let's continue here. Panel to post-menopausal women. Don't take vitamin D and calcium. I thought you were supposed to. I mean, the government panel is going to tell us what to eat. How about Mr. Federal Government caught murdering thousands of troops in secret test over 50 years? How about you all get arrested instead of telling us what to do? That sounds a lot better. You're caught shipping guns into Mexico, blowing up Oklahoma City. How about you go to prison, you murdering, drug dealing, child trafficking scum? How about we just call you out for what you are? Not the authorities, a gang of sinister, out-of-control trash. And you're like, oh, this show's really radical. No, it's not. Reality's radical. You studied history, what out-of-control systems do when people start becoming thumb suckers? Here's another article from American Dream up at Infowars.com. The elite are attempting to convince us that killing off our sick grandparents, it's cool and trendy. And there's just all these articles coming out about how cool it is and how fun it is. And, oh, my God, my parents are scum. They're old and ugly and stupid. And I killed them. I cut off any medical treatment. It's so fun. We're going to hire 10 teachers, kill Granny. I mean, it's just like... kill kids up to age 3. Yeah, they're not humans. You've been hearing that in the news. Yeah, kids are bad for the carbon footprint. You watch all the TV shows, they put down kids, they put down men. They show women in charge everywhere so they can destroy women, so women can stomp around haughtily and boss everyone around and henpeck each other. Man, it's just everything the Bible talked about. women over you and your children over you. Society just plunging into hell itself. And we're just starting the roller coaster ride down. You ain't seen nothing yet. We got to come out of the next break with, you ain't seen nothing yet. No, you ain't seen nothing yet. I know it's in there. Let's continue with the news. I want to cover this on the nightly news tonight so I can properly show you the graphics. But zombies, deniers, sociopaths, schemers, and protectors. The 5 dominant personalities you'll encounter in the world gone mad. And Mike Adams has got the protectors as the sheepdogs, not the wolves, not the sheep, as the good guys. But I talked about the fake nanny state protectors. They always have a counterfeit of anything like that. And again, we will be covering that on the nightly news in detail this evening. We'll look at the zombies, the deniers, the sociopaths, and the schemers. Well, there's also the torture masters, the having people at their will, having people totally captured and panicking, the vampires. So I will add the vampires. They're at the top of the... In fact, maybe mark us. We're skeleton crew because a few folks are on vacation right now, well-deserved. Maybe a pyramid with the different types in it. The protectors that actually hold the whole system up. Then the fake nanny state with the idea that only the nanny state can do the protecting. And then above that, you've got the zombies. Then you've got the deniers. Then you've got the sociopaths. Then you've got the schemers. Then you've got the master idiot savant vampire brain bugs. And then above that, you've got the psychic vampire supreme overlord level, which is just the essence of death and destruction. I mean, that would be the actual. In fact, let me just get the pyramid ready so I can give it to him. You have a document cam shot. People watching on prisonplanet.tv. Let me see. Here's the pyramid. And we've just been taught to be spectators. That's another group. They've gotten good people to be spectators. So that's how they've gotten us, the real protectors, out of the game by watching the television mind control device. So the normal protectors with normal wiring and a good upbringing that's being phased out, they're busy mesmerizing a dream state. Or if they wake up, they're called conspiracy theorists, okay? But then you've got you've got the zombies. And you've got the quasi-zombie spectators. So I guess he does have it right. Zombie spectators will be the term. You've got the deniers that think it's trendy to go along with whatever the system says because they're like pretending they're winning by doing that. Then you got the sociopaths. Then you've got schemers. Then you've got the technocrat vampires. And then you've got the supreme overlord vampires who really hate the vampires beneath them and the schemers and are usually physically destroying them on a routine basis because they got to keep their numbers down or they'll scheme together and unseat the master vampires. One of the worst jobs to have is to be a technocrat vampire. I mean, it doesn't even really mean, he's kind of a mercenary vampire. You might not even enjoy what you're doing. A lot of them do, but they mainly do it because they want to feel good about themselves. The famers, the mercenary fame people. They'll do. I mean, there's a lot of reasons they can get them to sell out. You know what? We're going to come back with more calls. Then I'm going to get into Israel rounds up Africans who threaten the character of the Jewish state, Reuters reports. Man, imagine if they rounded up the black people here. That'd be called racist, but not when Israel does it. We'll be right back. Stay with us. And Congress should sit down and shut up, and Congress did. You ain't seen nothing yet. You think they're going to ban soft drinks with sugar in them? You ain't seen nothing yet. They're going to ban popcorn and over certain amounts of beef, chicken, meat. They've said they're going to ban it. It's carbon tax. It's all here. It's all happening. They're going to dig through your trash can. It's already begun. In Miami and other areas, you ain't seen nothing yet. This is all planned. UN, global government, set up by eugenicists. They set up UNESCO. They've said their plan. You notice yesterday I played part of that Ray Kurzweil clip from the big UN summit in Moscow. And coming up later in the news segment, after I take some more calls, I'm going to play a clip from it. The part we didn't get to. But you notice they say, we will merge with machines and live forever and fly through space. That's a UN transhumanist quote by Ray Kurzweil that I put with the quote in Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, in 2007, 5 years ago. And I've had countless newspapers come out and make fun of me for that and go, Alex says they're going to merge with machines, live forever, and fly around in spaceships. I was giving the quote by the crazy elite that say after they kill us, they're going to do all this. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but everything they said they do so far in the plan, they've been following. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that they're going to keep doing all. I mean, Ted Turner, all of them are like, yeah, we're going to kill 90% of you. Yeah, we're going to build level 4 bioweapons labs all around you. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to build them in level 2 facilities where we can get out. Oh, okay. We're just supposed to just sit here and go, oh, everything's fine. Hey, Mitt Romney, man, he's going to fix it. Yeah, oh, yeah. Bought and paid for by the same people. It's all just window dressing. Obama, Romney, they got a puppet dancing in front of me going, look at the puppet, look at the puppet. And I'm like, look at the guy pulling the puppet. It's the same guy. Hey, look, here's Mitt Romney. Here's Barack Obama. Ron Paul 4 years ago, he said, hey, I'm not going to support McCain. I can't. He's basically the same as Obama. Everybody's like, wow, he really understands it. 4 years later, hey, we're doing what we got to do. We may not even have a counter conference. The Republicans might get mad. We're bringing in all these mainline Republican strategists. Well, hey, we don't like that. Well, we don't need you anymore. People that brought us to this, you libertarian constitutionalists, we're merging with the Republican Party. That's basically the message. We want the Republican Party to like us. That's what they've all said. Okay, I don't hate you. I don't dislike you. I understand your thought process. It's incredibly flawed. I mean, I liked the Ron Paul of 4 years ago, not this new one. And please don't say, oh, there's Ron Paul didn't do this. Yeah, he did. He coordinated this with Rand Paul. Last week, the announcement that, okay, our campaign is over. We're not going to have the delegates we needed, as if that wasn't the case for months, right as Rand comes out with his announcements. It's deals being made behind the scenes. And we're not being told about those deals. Ray in because we're the stupid, unwashed Ron Paul supporters. Let's talk to Ray in California. Go ahead.
Alex?
Yes?
Hey, Alex, did you read the New York Times this morning?
No.
The New York Times today has Syria on the front page.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I know they're all saying they're going to attack it. Yeah, but we're fearmongers to say that they're openly calling for aerial bombardments and ground invasions. I see this Pentagon thing on my website, but in the comments saying we're making it up that anything's about to happen in Syria. Yes.
You know that Syria is a trigger for a nuclear holocaust.
Well, the Russians do say that they're moving nukes into those areas and but so what? The bankers have underground bunkers. Everything's fine.
And they're also doing Soros techniques in Russia, and they're trying to get the backdoor reinitiated in China through payoff.
Exactly, and then they say you're not patriotic if you don't support Soros. Hey, I don't like the Russian government and the stuff they do, but they're not over here running my life. They're not the ones launching drones against me. They're not the ones brain damaging our kids with forced vaccines and lying about it. You know, I'm sick of the system. Oh, the Muslims will get you. Give your rights up, and they run the Muslim Al-Qaeda. Or the Russians will get you while they pay to ship our factories to China.
Yeah, the reason why they want to reestablish the back door is because they want to have a limited nuclear holocaust that they can pull it off.
Yeah, more and more I think that Joel Skousen's right about this, but he thinks it comes in 5 to 10 years. I mean, the elite are digging in bunkers like it's going to happen tomorrow, telling us we're kooks if we have some storable foods. Don't have storable foods, but we're building giant billion-dollar bunkers. Okay, and we're building bioweapon labs all around your major cities that if any of it gets out, it'll kill 90% of you. But everything's fine. Don't be a conspiracy theorist. That means don't question. I'm sorry, go ahead, conspiracy theorist.
What they want to do here, is they want to have a bio-holocaust before the nuclear holocaust. And they want to have the nuclear holocaust by the end of this year, beginning of next year.
All right, I hope you're wrong, but there's no telling what they'll do. They financed Hitler, Mao, and everybody else. I mean,
we're on the mark.
Are totally committed. The printer ink is bisphenol A to sterilize you and your family and give you cancer. Look it up. All the major GMO crops have back doors built in to create pesticides to give you cancer, reduce your fertility, and mutate you by the 3rd generation to the point of not even being human. Look it up. We're being hit from every side. Most of us are already walking dead. Just understand that. This is toe-to-toe combat with the eugenics black op command force that's infiltrated every level of society and used brainwashing flicker rates to put the general public into deep trances. If you're able to understand this transmission, it means that you've broken the trance at some level. If you're laughing uncontrollably right now, that's a inlaid program to laugh when you hear the truth. You've been preconditioned by all the different messaging and things, mainly at the subliminal level. Let me hit some more news, and then we'll get back to your calls. I mentioned this earlier, and I saw this in Reuters this morning. There's an article at Infowars.com going over it with the quotes. Israel rounds up Africans who threaten the character of the Jewish state. And what happened is King Solomon did have a bunch of wives from Ethiopia. And much of Ethiopia says they're Jewish. It's some of the oldest Christian groups as well down there, and they've been able to immigrate in. But Israel's decided that ain't the way it's working. So I've got it here out of Reuters. Israel government wants to get rid of 60,000 African migrants whose growing numbers are seen by many Israelis as a law and order issue, even a threat to the long-term viability of the Jewish state, according to Reuters. And it goes on, for some in Israel, built by immigrants and refugees, internment and deportation are bad solutions. Well, my issue is, why were they let in as workers to begin with? And listen, if you're going to have a country, I mean, France isn't French anymore. England's not. And I'm not bashing the groups that have come there wanting a better life. But, the point is that the Israel lobby in this country is always lobbying for open borders, gun control, trying to manipulate our policies so we're a kept nation to keep funding what's happening over there. That's my irritation. And, I mean, saying we're going to ship the black people out, and I've seen articles like where they say, you'll be arrested if you marry a Jewish woman. I mean, you can look that up. That's like Jerusalem Post. My only issue is I don't want to be lectured all day by big Israeli war hawk, dual citizen people in Congress about how if I don't want Obamacare, I'm a racist, when I'm not even thinking about race. And I'm not here henpecking at Israel either. But, I mean, it is a religious, racial state. This kind of stuff goes on. Most countries in history have been religious or racial. So my whole point is that this is what I shove in the face of the Israel lobby. It's a diverse lobby, but, the really liberal sections of it aren't liberal at all. They want everybody in Israel to have M16s, taxpayer paid for, by me, by you, but then lobby to get our guns. In fact, there's the article out of Reuters. Israel said Monday it started rounding up African migrants in the first stage of a controversial emergency plan to intern and deport thousands deemed to be a threat to the Jewish character of the state. I mean, can you imagine if the headline, thousands of blacks to be rounded up because they're a threat to the character of the United States state. But I guess I need to be politically correct, so I support Israel in what they're doing. I think it's not racist at all. I'm being sarcastic. I mean, it's just so over the top, folks. It's so over the top. I'll probably get attacked by the ADL for criticizing it. The ADL caught breaking into police departments, stealing files on people. They don't need that now. They got Google. The ADL running around, Southern Poverty Law Center and others. A bunch of these groups have been caught creating fake white supremacist groups. Oh, man. One time I went out to protest a white supremacist rally in downtown Austin, and I'd played it on local cable TV, and I was like, These white supremacists all look like Howard Stern with short haircuts. I mean, it was like totally, and later came out it was fake. And they get everybody fighting with each other. Again, most people in Israel don't like what's happening. Most of the Jews I talk to in the U.S. are against what's happening. And the media tries to make it either a monolithic, you totally support everything Israel does and don't question anything, meaning the government of Israel, or you're anti-Semitic, or you totally hate Israel, or you're bad. And I find the same crazy vitriol from the pro-Israel camp and the anti-Israel camp. And this is the type of stuff that really leads to big problems. And I don't see how Israel can continue on doing things like this. I mean, there's 60,000 black Africans there. But what Reuters doesn't mention is almost all of them got there because they come from communities that for thousands of years have said they're Jewish. And they're proud of the fact. And they have, features that are more, Semitic than African. I mean, they clearly have some of those features. They say they have that bloodline. It's been adopted. It's been accepted by Israel. And now you're going to tell them that they're not Jewish. I mean, that's what's not really being said here. They were led into Israel as refugees back in the 60s and 70s and 80s because they are Jewish, a lot of them, or say they are. And my whole issue is that it's just amazing. I mean, that's all I can say. And to say because of crime, you know, the old thing that blacks are all criminals. I mean, they even throw that in there, and it's like, because it's Israel, it's like, well, okay, you know, those blacks, they're criminals. The New York Times will probably say what I just said, take it out as a quote and say I said it when I was quoting what's going on in Israel. Just amazing. Okay, now I've ranted about that too long. I've got all this other news I want to get to. I played part of this yesterday, a big UN event in Moscow a few months ago. Ray Kurzweil running it. In Endgame, and I still need to do a video on this showing what I said in Endgame with the quotes versus what Ray Kurzweil and the UN say. And the UN was set up by transhumanists, which is the new name for eugenicists. They even said that. They said, well, Hitler made us look bad, we'll call ourselves transhumanists. And now if you're into empowering humanity, making the blind see, you think, oh, that's what they are. No, 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 no. They say they're going to control evolution, merge with machines, kill the rest of us. And that's the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say. So I want to do a piece on this soon that's more produced with all the documents showing the rest of the story. But here's the part I didn't get to yesterday because of time constraints. And the article's up there. UN-backed conference talks about the new man and the end of humanity as we know it. And again, all this tech that's being rolled out by him has back doors to surveil, control, and dehumanize. And you think people are already watching television, looking at their iPads and not talking to people. They're now starting to interface and getting addicted. The wirehead, the plugging into the brain, the Matrix is here. Philip K. Dick wrote about it 35 years ago. The film The Matrix is just based on Pentagon plans, again, declassified in 2000, where they actually talk about us all living in pods and powering things with our body heat. And that movie is just all in your face. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. This is what they say. This is a UN conference saying they're going to control reality and you just better get ready to accept it. And they talk about a new religion. Their new religion is the technotronic merger and blasting off into the space as robots. Okay? We should have a debate about whether we, A, think this is feasible, B, think it's a good idea. But the general public's like, this guy's using fancy terms. He said technotronic. What are you trying to show off for, pal? I bench press 350. I'm like, look, I'm not trying to show off to you. I just want to warn you about some stuff going on. Did you know most people that have autopsies now have nanotech in their brain? They're spiking it as part of a global program into some of the food, just like they take your baby's blood at birth. Yeah, right. The alien's going to get me. The tinfoil hat. And I'm like, listen, this is very important. You need to, sure it is, bud boy. I'm like, if you went and got your brainwaves checked, I would imagine you're in a suspended disbelief subconscious program right now and that you're at the edge of dreaming. That's why you're laughing at me right now. Oh, that's right, crazy man. Because they've been put into a near sleep state. Look at the brainwave reports. This is mainstream news. But they just report it like it's no big deal, and then they're down there in that subconscious where the subconscious knows this is real and is scared. It's hundreds of times more powerful than the conscious mind. Some people it's thousands of times more powerful. It knows everything's going on. It's scared to death. And you come to them and say, hey, this is happening, and then the pre-programmed outside defense mechanism hits, eyes glaze over. Boom, can't hear you. I mean, they got GMO, they got nanotech in their brain already. Oh, yeah. I mean, we are so far down the rat hole, and we haven't even begun the descent. And I tell you what, it's amazing. Let's go ahead and talk to, let's go ahead and go to that video, then we'll go back to your calls. Here is the forecast of the UN from the big UN Moscow conference. Here it is.
Our forecast for the next 40 years. February 2012. Global Future 2045 Congress is held in Moscow. It is a debate platform for discussion of our civilization's prospects for development. 2012 to 2013, the global economic and social crises are exacerbated. The debates on the global paradigm of future development intensifies. New transhumanist movements and parties emerge. Russia 2045 transforms into World 2045. Simultaneously, the 2045.com international social network for open innovation is expanding. Here, anyone interested may propose a project, take part in working on it, or fund it, or both. In the network, there are scientists, scholars, researchers, financiers, and managers. 2013 to 2014. New centers working on cybernetic technologies for the development of radical life extension rise. The race for immortality starts. 2015 to 2020. The Avatar is created. A robotic human copy controlled by thought via brain-computer interface. It becomes as popular as a car. In Russia and in the world appear, in testing mode, several breakthrough projects. Android robots to replace people in manufacturing tasks. Android robot servants for every home. Thought-controlled avatars to provide telepresence in any place of the world and abolish the need for business trips. Flying cars. Thought-driven mobile communications built into the body or sprayed onto the skin. 2020 to 2025. An autonomous system providing life support for the brain and allowing it interaction with the environment is created. The brain is transplanted into an Avatar B. With Avatar B, man receives new, expanded life. 2025. The new generation of avatars provides complete transmission of sensations from all 5 sensory robot organs to the operator. 2030 to 2035. Rebrain. The colossal project of brain reverse engineering is implemented. World science comes very close to understanding the principles of consciousness. 2035. The first successful attempt to transfer one's personality to an alternative carrier. The epoch of cybernetic immortality begins. 2040 to 2050. Bodies made of nanorobots that can take any shape arise alongside hologram bodies. 2045 to 2050. Drastic changes in social structure and in scientific and technological development. All the prerequisites for space expansion are established. For the man of the future, war and violence are unacceptable. The main priority of his development is spiritual self-improvement. A new era dawns. The era of neo-humanity.
All right. Now, that's put out by the UN, and it's global standardization saying the UN must decide the course of the technological development. Remember, the real technology is 30 years advanced. They're just rolling a lot of this out now at you. The neo-human, there won't be, if you get into deeper documents, but about 1% of the original humans will be allowed to live. And this is their plan when you get up to 2060 or so. But they don't tell people at first. They say, we're only going to kill 80%. We're only going to kill 90%. And then higher level documents that have leaked, well, we're going to keep about 2%. Some documents say we may decide to kill ourselves or blast off the earth and blow it up for fun. This is what the top billionaires say. We quote them in Endgame Blueprint for Global Enslavement. You're like, well, this is madness. Well, these are the folks in charge. Okay? Not me saying this, New York Times. And others when you attack me and say, Jones says they're going to live forever and blast off in spaceships. Notice they talk about, religious. This will empower us religiously. And now they're going to be God making the new creatures. See, there's no room for you when you get into their deeper literature. Notice the whole Avatar thing. I've already talked to, by the way, I wanted to get Tommy back on. I forgot to get him on. Let's get him on next week. I've talked to people that have gotten tours years ago when nobody had of the new hologram movies. They're just not ready to roll it out yet. They're just phasing it in right now. And then pretty soon it'll just be plugged into your brain. And again, it's all about control just to get you dialed into false reality so you'll accept, oh, billions died in the last year. We're safe here in the great node city of Agulu or whatever it is. And then, oh, I'm going to just get back into my plug-in system. Bring me back for exercise in 1 month. I'm going to go back to my, the kingdoms I'm ruling in the cybernetic system. And then you go off into your la-la land, and then you're just unplugged later. They're going to have the robots in your house spying on you, which the CIA chief said 2 months ago, all appliances. They're going to be there doing everything for you, working at the factories. You're not going to be needed anymore because of the robotics. The military's not going to be needed. It's all going to be robots working on robots, as we've shown you their documents and videos on air. This is the plan. As soon as the technocratic skin is in, the robotics, the drones, the weaponized system, at the moment they've beta tested and are ready to go, they'll release the first bioweapon plague. That's what they didn't give you in their little forecast. Again, that will wipe out 10 to 15 million people. I'm giving you a prime projection. That will be used in the next 5 to 10 years after that attack is launched. Could be next month, could be 10 years from now, because they are behind. And fighting them will back them off, by the way. This is a death struggle we're in. Once they launch that bio attack, that first phase is just make everybody scared. Millions dead, total fear. Anybody will take any shot they're told to, quote, be safe. That will implant them with all sorts of nasty nanotech and things, and soft kills and hormone-triggered viruses for age discrimination. Lower hormones, it's triggered, they admit that. That's one of their main kill rates. Also, they like to add pathogens to things like the tetanus shot for just a good old-fashioned attack pattern. And an infestation of the organs with different pustules and things that have a nice, painful soft kill effect that also weighs down the country that you're hitting with it. That's an added goodie. But then once they've released that bio-level attack, then they'll kill, I think, about 3 billion in the next phase. Then society will really ratchet down. And then got a phone call by one of the workers there. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to get back in touch with them. I'm not going to say he or she. Right after the show ends, and we'll have this on the Nightly News tonight. They said the University of Texas facility, they have a level 4 bioweapons lab on the coast that got hit by a hurricane. It's level 2 security, but with level 4. That's got stuff that'll, again, kill 90% of those that come in contact with it. Mouse pox, you name it. That it's a nanotech weapon system facility. Department of Defense, whatever you guys do with the document cameras, don't show my notes here. It'll give this away. And that they're practicing high-powered systems that can fire nanotech viruses into people at such high speed, and they're so small you don't even know you've been hit by them. The perfect weapon. And again, UT is involved. They've got a huge monkey farm out there with stuff that, well, one researcher told me it kills 97% of the monkeys. I mean, God almighty. It's right out in Bastrop, outside Bastrop by Smithville. I was given a tour one time of the psychology department. I'll never forget it. And a lot of it was classified, but they're like, "Oh, don't look at those monitors. That's classified." Oh, and it's all the monkeys in the big death pits, all hooked up with wires in their heads, hitting them with flicker rates for the Pentagon to test how to soft kill you and your family through the television, how to put you into that state. I mean, I'm just a primitive human who was able to break the basic programming. I'm in an emergency system warning you here, and they're building all this stuff everywhere. Got a nanotech place down the street from us right here, but it's just one of the fake groups out there. All these groups are out there trying to get funding. There it is, nanotechnology at the University of Texas. Anyways, we're told about this, and we look it up, and the person told us it's a cover-up. We've been in contact with KXAN. One of our crew, one of our reporters used to work there. He quit there to come to work here. He called them. They're looking into it. UT experiment explodes, hospitalizes one. Person has minor injuries. Leak now under control. And it said during the experiment with the nanotech gun, the explosion that happened during the experiment at the University of Texas high-velocity projectile research facility, sent one person to the hospital Tuesday. They got thousands of these things everywhere. The motorist driving by the building at 300 North Baghdad Road, yeah, you wouldn't even have heard of this if people didn't see the building blow up, was hit by shrapnel from the explosion and taken who knows how many. They say it's a lot worse than what the media is saying. Again, I haven't talked to them yet. They just took these notes down, the reporters did. And taken to Round Rock Medical with minor injuries, according to Rhonda Weldon, Director of Communications for University Operations. Yeah, up north there, too, they got nuclear reactors. And the city is so pre-programmed. When I tell you they're doing experiments at one of the biggest experimental reactors in North America, they just say, "Alex, quit fear-mongering. It doesn't exist. I'd know if there were reactors in Austin." Yeah, there's two of them. Yeah. 2 reactors. Well, really, they still got little ones, what I'm told, that they can never completely shut down in downtown. And they got the 2 up north. So I guess that's 3. But the point is, and you got professors like Pianka wandering around there going, soon 90% of us will be dead. I'm prepared for my family to die. Lucifer. You know, you go to his UT website, and it's him dressed up on the official website in a outfit as a druid and talking about Lucifer. I'm in biology department. Soon everyone will be dead. We're releasing it soon. The FBI went and said, what are you talking about? He goes, never mind, I'm just an old man. He went to the Texas Academy of Sciences, and again, standing ovations when he said they're going to kill everybody. Just, oh, murder, oh, death, that's beautiful. We're powerful. Ah. Anyways, this is just all part of the insane power trip that's going on. And again, I'm not insane. You're insane if you're not concerned about this. And I think about this. Who cares about Rand Paul, Ron Paul? Okay, they're great. I endorse Mitt Romney. Fine. That's like rearranging the silverware on the Titanic or something. Whatever, fine. We shouldn't even be freaked out about this. Move forward, warn people, hope humanity survives. That's the best we can do. I'll break this down on the nightly news tonight, 7 o'clock, PresidentBlatter.tv.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.